Good evening. Hope everybody is well. I wonder sometimes if those in control, and I mean those truly in control, I wonder sometimes if they sit back and make trade-offs. What do I mean by that? Well, I watched different nations and I watched how they fell or came into the hands of another nation. And sometimes it almost seems like the bigger nations are using these smaller nations to kind of trade. You know, if you invade this nation, we'll kind of turn our head. We won't jump in the middle. We won't get involved. Kind of one of those things. And I don't know if there's anything to that or not, but it's something I pondered. I try to ponder anything that I can dream up. And if it doesn't fly, if the theory don't fly, it don't fly. But I can't completely poke holes in that one. And the reason why I bring this up is because I look at what's going on with New York City and the advisement that they're giving their citizens there about what to do in case of a nuclear disaster. And it almost makes me wonder, are there world leaders sitting in a dark room somewhere, much more secure than my dark room, and are they, in this case, trading cities? You know? Remember, you have to understand that I have a working theory that these countries aren't really against one another behind closed doors. That this is just a dog and pony show. This is just a soap opera to get us, in the end, to beg for that one world government, one world rule, one world currency, the whole nine yards. Because, I mean, what to do that better than widespread famine, widespread homelessness? I mean, and that's exactly where they're taking us. And when I say us, I don't mean just the United States of America, but almost every damned nation on this planet at the same time, in concert. And that is what I find extremely interesting. And so with that, I have to wonder if there are world leaders sitting in a dark room somewhere, much more secure than mine, and trading cities. And I wonder if maybe, perhaps, that might be what's happening here. Because, I mean, come on. I think most of us have realized at this point that there's conflict coming. And I have a feeling that it's going to expand. I have a feeling that we are going to get touched here on the mainland. Not going to be like the other world wars, to where the United States, for the most part, came out unscathed as far as, you know, the nation itself. I don't think that's going to be the case for the big WW3. Anywho, I've got something that I have neglected to tell you for like a week because I suck. Nah, it's not really that big of a deal. And I suck. But, and I keep forgetting every day. I keep forgetting to tell you. So, if you recall, not long ago, 2-3 weeks ago, we had our website hosting, the renewal, come up. And we do it every, 6 month payments. It's like $32.50 or something like that every 6 months. And thankfully to Tracy, we were able to cover that to get the website, keep the website up. So I paid that, everything's going along smooth. And then I wake up one morning to an email from my web host, and my website was suspended for spam. Like, what? Because I don't do anything with it. And so I got to thinking, well, there was an update that I just was being neglectful and not going and dealing with. And so it would constantly keep emailing me, letting me know that the website needed updated. That's number one. Number two, remember I told about the other night we had a power outage. The power was out for a while. Security system was like going crazy. Well, one of the things that it was trying to do was email me to let me know. And so it emailed a whole shit ton of times. And it set off a flag in the host system. It set off a flag, and so they suspended me for suspected spam, although I was just spamming myself. So I finally got that taken care of. Now, I've been bitching and moaning at this company now for a couple of years because my email server, yeah, the same one that my website was suspended for, that one, wouldn't work right. And that's why I haven't opened it up for you guys to do whatever there. We could have forums there, we could do whatever. But I couldn't sell anything on the website, and I couldn't even have the registration open up on the website because the email server was completely unreliable. I believe we have that fixed, but in order to do that, and because of many other thousands of errors, I'm sure, they had to completely refresh my account. So that means everything was wiped to a completely clean slate. Now, I could have just as easily downloaded a backup of the site, reinstalled the backup of the site, been back in business, everything. And that's why they were letting me know, so that I could go download the backup of the site. And I thought, nah, I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to build a new site because Joomla 4 is now a thing. I can't upgrade to Joomla 4 with the old site because the template that I used for the site is not compatible with Joomla 4. So I basically have to start anew. And that's fine. I don't mind that at all. So I just want people to know that the website, all that, just to let you know, that the website, the new one, is under construction. However, if you want to go and sign up an account, you can most certainly do that. So that is all working and everything. There's nothing there. We've got a donate link there. We've got there's a store button there, but it doesn't take you anywhere. There's nothing to buy. So I just got all that installed, just kind of getting everything installed, put together and all that. It will look totally different by the time I'm done. But again, the database is the database. You can go and sign up if you want, and that won't be affected by the changes that I make to what they call the template of the site. So anyway, I thought I would let you folks know about that. Because I kept forgetting for like the last week. But anyway, we got everything up and running. The email server seems to be working swimmingly well. And so we ought to be good to go. And so I'm actually looking forward to maybe getting some decals up. I got a bunch of t-shirts, a bunch of blank black t-shirts here. And some heat press vinyl. And I wouldn't mind getting rid of the damn t-shirts and, you know, I don't mind using some of the heat press vinyl to get rid of the t-shirts. So I may just put like a Watchman News logo, like on where like the breast or whatever would be on the shirt. You know what I'm talking about. Not real big, but maybe like 3-inch or something like that. And I may do that and then sell those shirts for like real cheap, like $10 or something plus shipping. So anyway, and that way I can just get rid of them. But other than that, I can put decals up there or whatever the hell. I mean, it's just nice to have an email server working again. I don't know what the hell they had all screwed up with the last one, but man, from the time I was on that, or on, I don't know what that installation, let's say by the time I was on that installation, yeah, it was a nightmare the entire time. So this seems to be running a lot better now, so. Alright, back to what I was talking about. I do think that we need to kind of have our spidey senses up when it comes to that warning. I don't think we need to be freaking out. Unless you live in New York, then, you know, you might want to freak out. That's just messed up. I hope that my concern isn't a reality, and that, well, as was said even in the chat, that something was, that they might know something that we don't, which I'm sure they do. Trying to think. I don't know of any more to add on that, and I don't really know a lot offhand. I do have it in the tabs. I got an article up in the tabs here about the Hunter Biden deal. I don't get all wrapped up in that stuff, because while I think it's worthwhile, and I do think people need to have to pay the consequences for what's all going on with this stuff, I think it's being used at the same time as a distraction from them pulling off some of the most dastardly things that's ever been pulled off in this nation. And I do think that they are going to use even things like that as a distraction. Look, we all know, or we should know by now, that nothing is going to happen to these people. Hillary's not going to go to jail. Nobody's going to lock her up. It's not, no matter what, even if it's them getting on a private plane and assholes and elbows outside of this country to New Zealand or whatever, to where they got their bunkers at, right? They're not going to get locked up. Period. So we can quit smoking that opium and just understand that, they'll leave a burning pile of rubble. They will, and I think that's what their full intention is. Man, it is absolutely insane what they're doing to this nation, and I'm. What was it? And I heard it again today. Oh gosh, what was it? It was a statement. It was a quote, and I think it was I think it was Joe Biden. There's somebody talking about how they needed, they needed 2-3 years to finish what they were doing, something to that effect. I just heard it today, and gosh, I don't know where I would have heard it. Heard it. I don't remember where I heard it. One of the videos I watched, and it was essentially saying, that their goal, while Biden's still in office, is to run this country into the ground as quickly and as far down as possible in that amount of time. And they're damn well doing it. They are damn well doing it. And it's not, again, I want to make this very clear, because there's many times in this country to where we think too much of just ourselves. This isn't just us. This is an entire planet of countries that are doing this at the same time. All the countries that gave in to the jab, all those countries that gave in to the jab are in the same boat. Imagine that. Imagine that. Countries that shouldn't be in the boat are in the boat. Imagine that. You know who's not really in the boat? Russia and China. They're really not in that boat. They've got their own boat. We better quit messing with them, because they're going to sink our boat. And we ain't going to be able to climb up on their boat. So, just saying. But, again, this could all be a dog and pony show. I don't know. I just know that we better be as ready as we possibly can be. And, man, I see a long, long, long road ahead. Anyway, I will say something just in case somebody didn't catch the video that I put out just a little bit ago. There's a hell of a deal on Amazon right now. I put out a video like, I don't know, maybe an hour or so ago. There's a link in that video. That link is an Amazon affiliate link that'll take you to it's EcoFlow River on Amazon. And I think it's more products than just that river. So if you're needing one, if you're needing we'll call it a solar generator, and you want an EcoFlow, if you go to Amazon, you can click my link. That'll take you to the river, and if you can go pick any model you need. If you need the Delta 1300, the Delta Pro, whatever you need, just kind of navigate to whichever one you need there, and then look and watch the video. You'll see where it showed that special offer to where you got the free 60-watt folding solar panel, like $249. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the portable panels and all of that. I warn against them. Know what you're getting. They serve their purpose, but know what you're getting. But if they're going to offer me one for free, yeah, I'll take it. And I guess that was an early Prime Day deal, I guess. So I just got lucky with that. But anyway, if you didn't catch that video, go see that video, especially if you're in the market. That's like $249 panel for free. So that's pretty crazy. Anyway, I guess let me have a few sips here. Oh, man. And a few vapes. I am almost out of this. Well, not completely out, but I mean out of this. I gotta make more. But I've still got my strawberry milk and pink starburst. So don't have to make any right now or nothing. Gonna do the strawberry milk next. It's great with coffee. Like, oh my goodness, good. Alright. Let's, for one, evacuate, my snaz. Stand by. One big snaz evacuated. Alright, continuing. I guess we'll go on over to the tabs, and I'll tell you what news I've got up there, and then we'll read the headlines, and we'll get the heck out of here. I guess it'll probably be an easy night. I don't have a whole lot of tabs up. I don't know. I didn't want to. No, I just didn't see a whole lot that said, hey, put me up there. So here's the deal with New York City and the nuclear attack tutorial video. It says here, New York City's Emergency Management Department on Monday released a 90-second video advising residents what to do in case of a nuclear attack. Officials said there was no specific threat of an atomic attack, only that now was as good a time as any to release the public service announcement. The video opens with a female presenter appearing against a computer-generated background showing the city. So there's been a nuclear attack, she says. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit. She then tells New Yorkers there are 3 important steps they need to take, starting with getting inside a building as fast as possible. Step 2 involves barricading inside, preferably in a basement, and showering off any dust or radioactive residue if one is caught in the blast outside and survives somehow. The final step involves staying tuned to the media and the government to give an all clear. Well, that's going to be a long damn time. As the threat landscape continues to evolve, yeah, when like people quit glowing, it's safe to come outside. As the threat landscape continues to evolve, it is important that New Yorkers know we are preparing for any imminent threats and are providing them with the resources they need to stay safe and informed, EMD Commissioner Zach Iskol said in a statement. A nuclear attack is a low probability, but would have a high impact, his deputy Christina Farrell told the radio station 1010 Winds. I don't know if there's ever a great time to put out nuclear preparedness PSA, but it's a very important, and we want New Yorkers to be prepared, so no time like the present. Sorry, my neck is killing me. Nuclear attack. Oh, I read that line. We know that this material is very serious and can be scary, frankly, but it's very important, Farrell added. There is no specific threat at this time. While Iskall and Farrell addressed the main question about the PSA, its timing, the public is asked about on social media. More than a few skeptics pointed out that the advice in the video is of questionable value in the case of an actual nuclear war. Monday's release reminded many of the duck and cover advice prevalent in the early years of the atomic age. This is about as helpful as hiding under a blanket, said one Twitter user, pointing out New York City would simply be gone. Another posted a map illustrating what 15-megaton thermonuclear blast over Manhattan would do, suggesting there might not be anyone alive to follow the instructions. This is reportedly the first nuclear PSA produced in New York City since 1962, the year of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So, just kind of something to tuck in the back of your head. It's, the situation is not good. And they're trying not to cause a panic, so of course they're going to say, oh, well, we don't have a specific threat. But we all know the government likes to wait until it's too late, typically, to tell us anything. Oh, sorry, you've been drinking lead in your water for 15 years. Here, have a water filter. And that's if you're lucky. Alright. 4chan claims Hunter Biden hack. Hunter Biden is a hack, but on with what they're saying. Content purportedly pulled off Hunter Biden's iPhone began appearing on the 4chan image board over the weekend. Denizens of the notorious online community claim to have cracked the password, smoking crack. The U.S. president's son, smokes crack, used his iCloud backup account. The authenticity of the salacious content has not yet been verified. I'm pretty sure he did smoke crack. The first post began to appear on Saturday evening. Soon thereafter, the crack smoker, administrators on 4chan's boards, on 4chan's boards reportedly began to remove threads containing material from the alleged trove, including photos and videos, and a mild amount of crack residue. In response, 4chan, he's the only one I know that could somehow get crack dust in the digital realm. I don't know how he could do it, but he'd do it. In response, 4chan users created torrents of the data and have seeded them across the internet, according to human events editor Jack Persovic, who was among the first to report on the existence of the leaks. And I will say, this is the first time in history that me, the Watchman, has absolutely no interest in downloading a file. I don't want nothing to do with it, man. Anyway, by Monday morning, critics of President Joe Biden had managed to get 4chan, Hunter Biden, and the hashtag Biden crime family trending on Twitter, with Democrats fighting back by claiming all the children of former President Donald Trump, except his youngest son Barron, were under federal investigation. Well, yeah, but were they charged with anything? I'm waiting. Let's see. Imagine the coverage if this was me, tweeted Donald Trump Jr., sharing a video allegedly showing Hunter Biden talking about crack cocaine with a prostitute. Well, because, who else are you going to talk about it with? Though described by his father as the smartest guy I know, Hunter Biden has a troubled history of drug use, you don't say. Just last week, British tabloid The Daily Mail published videos of Hunter drinking and smoking crack while in a drug rehab. No. The materials came from Biden's phone backups that's been stored on a laptop abandoned at a Delaware computer repair shop in 2019. It was the New York Post that first reported on the notebook's existence, dubbing it the laptop from hell, in October 2020, just weeks before the U.S. presidential election. The outlet was quickly locked out of Twitter and shadow banned on Facebook as Democrats insisted the laptop was fake, and even Russian disinformation, its contents have since been confirmed as authentic. While much of the scandal around Hunter Biden involves sex and drugs, he has also been involved in numerous investment schemes, apparently trading on his family name and connections. In the most prominent case, Hunter sat on the board of Ukrainian gas company Burisma while his father was in charge of the U.S. policy on Kiev between 2015 and 2019. This ended up figuring in the Democrats' first push to impeach Trump in 2019. Last week, it emerged that some 950,000 barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve released by the White House in an effort to lower prices at the pump for Americans ended up in the hands of a Chinese company Hunter Biden had invested in. Bohai Harvest RST, a private equity firm he co-founded, reported having a $1.7 million stake in Sinopec back in 2015. But like I say, be careful, because all they'll do is use this stuff to distract you. Right? And they'll keep you raising hell and throwing fits because he's not in jail yet and all that. All while they're doing the real dastardly deeds, which they are doing. Biden commemorated one this morning, and that was the new gun control crap. Saw that come up live and Alright. I have a couple of vapes and we'll move on. Oh, man. And as I have been and many others have saying, keep getting ready. This stuff is insane, and I'm sure anybody that watches us knows about Southern Pepper 1. Make sure to watch his boots on the ground videos. Really good stuff. Really good information in them. He does a really good job. So make sure you check him out for that. I like him because he just gives the information, you know. That's it. He doesn't, he'll tell you his thoughts. He'll encourage you to get ready and stuff like that. But he doesn't put this layer of doom over everything just to get you to click. You know, that's not his intent. He just wants to give you some good information, and that's what this is supposed to be about. Sad thing was I do believe it was largely what it was about at one time. And then what happened was Google and YouTube decided to start screwing over the creators. And once they started doing that, the creators, some of them had built an entire life around YouTube and the income they were making from YouTube, and no longer getting that. And, the smart YouTubers didn't just blow it all, and they were able to continue on and everything, fine. But a lot of folks, especially the ones that were just getting started around that time when they started clamping down on the monetization, they had to start finding other methods of income to be able to make it seem worthwhile, or, even to get remotely what they were before. Well, unfortunately, that leads to, people will sell you a pile of crap with a ribbon around it if you'll buy it. You know, somebody will, and they'll have no shame in doing it. So you have to be really careful. And unfortunately, that's what made for a lot of dishonesty with the channels was because the monetization, the fair monetization practices were stripped away. And it's sad. It's not only sad for the creators, but it's also sad for the viewers because, well, the intent doesn't, or the content doesn't come necessarily from the right place. Anyway, have another sip. We'll get on this article. U.S. comments on challenges to the world order. The ongoing conflict between Moscow and Kiev might threaten the existing world order, the U.S. State Secretary Antony Blinken told the Thai public broadcaster on Monday. According to Blinken, Russia challenges what he called a rules-based world order and would create a new reality in the international arena if allowed to achieve its goals in Ukraine. The existing international rules are based on some basic understandings, Blinken argued, naming respect for sovereignty, for independence, for territorial integrity, for human rights as the foundations of the order centered around the UN. Russia's aggression against Ukraine challenged all of it, Blinken said. If Russia is allowed to do what it's doing, that means we're going to go back to a world in which might makes right, in which big nations can bully small nations, which would be the opposite of the rules-based order, he added. In addition to Moscow acting as the international troublemaker, Blinken said Beijing is posing a challenge to the order in a way that it acts with increasing aggression in the region and with increasing repression at home. He did not explain what exactly he meant by China's aggression. At the same time, Blinken called U.S. relations with China one of the most consequential relationships, one of the most complex relationships, adding that Washington still hopes to find ways to cooperate with Beijing despite a competition between the two nations. Russia sent troops into Ukraine on February 24th, citing Kiev's failure to implement the thing. I'm not going to read all through that. You've seen that a million other times. The rest of that's just going back on what's already happened. So, anywho. Oh, fun times. What's next? U.S. supplied HIMARS kills 3 civilians in Donbass, says authorities. The reason I brought this article up is because, well, it's kind of important we understand this, because that would mean that U.S. weapons are, well, essentially being used on the offensive. Would this not be being used on the offensive in this case? I think it would be. At least I would think that Russia could perceive that as the case, because that's what really matters here, what Russia perceives it as. But anyway, says a Ukrainian strike on Donbass that used U.S.-supplied M142 HIMARS multiple-launch rocket systems has claimed the lives of 3 civilians and injured 39 others, authorities in the Donetsk People's Republic reported on Monday. They added that those killed were taking part in a humanitarian mission. It should be noted that all the victims are volunteers of the public organization Young Republic and came under fire as they carried out a humanitarian mission to assist the local population, the authorities said, offering condolences to the families of the deceased and wishing speedy recovery to the injured. According to the DPR's representatives from the Joint Center for Control and Coordination on Ceasefire, the Ukrainian missile strike in question hit Ambrosky something district on July 10th. In addition to the killed and wounded, 4 persons are reported missing. Amid the Ukraine conflict, the U.S. and its allies have been supplying Kiev with financial, humanitarian, and military aid to help it fight off Russia's offensive. The recent deliveries included medium-range M142 HIMARS and ammunition that, according to the U.S., would be a boon for the Ukrainian military given its lack of firepower. According to the Pentagon, the U.S. provided Kiev with 8 HIMARS systems since the beginning of the conflict. Last week, however, Russian authorities claimed they destroyed 2 of these rocket systems in the DPR. Moscow has reportedly condemned Western efforts to support Ukraine's military, with Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov saying in June that flooding Ukraine with foreign weapons will not change the course of the conflict and will only lead to more suffering and destruction in the country. And I would agree. I still think and I still say that anybody that thinks that Russia is struggling because they just can't seem to defeat Ukraine. No. I think for one, Russia's got to remain, you know what I mean? Putin can't just go in there and just bring the all-out hammer down. The international community would instantly be jumping on him for that, and I think we all know that. So by him, and we'll just word it this way, by him quote-unquote fighting a fair fight, it makes it seem a little more palatable about what he's doing. If he just went in there and brought the hammer down and just started wiping stuff out, and you know damn well he could do it, he's not doing it. It's not like he's got non-stop missiles or, you know what I mean? He's not even got a full day of missiles going into the country. No less, multiple days. If he wanted to take out some of those big cities, the big public offices, the government offices and stuff like that, you can't convince me that there's not a single one that he couldn't hit. Plain and simple. He's got hypersonic missiles. Believe me. He can hit a building or two. And so to say that, Ukraine's really holding them off, that's a bunch of BS. That's a bunch of BS. And I think a lot of that, to be honest, is just mere propaganda. But I do think there were videos that came out where people that were fighting on behalf of Ukraine, or trying to, were talking about how dire the situation really was. So, here they want to propagandize you, keep you in support of what they're doing, and make you think that they're on the top, because, they always got to make you think that they're on the top. Anywho, got one more tab open. This got a big eye roll from me. I can't stand this relationship whatsoever, and I'm talking about the one between the United States and Saudi Arabia. I'll tell you what, out of all the different quote-unquote relationships, foreign relations that we have, this is a strong number 2. I don't know that it takes number 1, but it's a definite strong number 2 of one of my most hated relationships that the United States has. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible government. It's insane. Look at what they didn't do when it came to Khashoggi. Did we really do anything? No. Business as usual. Bunch of BS. Anyway, I digress. Maybe. Nah, no I don't. Who gives a damn? U.S. considering lifting Saudi Arabia weapons ban, says Reuters. That's disgusting on 2 completely different levels. Washington is contemplating lifting its ban on U.S. sales of offensive weapons to Saudi Arabia ahead of President Joe Biden's visit to Riyadh later this week, Reuters reported on Monday, citing 4 sources familiar with the discussions. Strictly internal at this time and at an early stage, the deliberations are informal and far from the decision-making stage, two of the sources indicated, with another U.S. official stating no talks on the matter have so far been held with the Saudis. The sources expect the Biden administration's decision will depend on whether Riyadh manages to get any closer towards ending its years-long war in Yemen in a political settlement, according to the report. Additionally, the White House is approaching the matter with utmost caution, since the Saudi-led coalition is reported to have used U.S.-made weapons against civilian targets, the sources said. Man, they've been doing it for a long time. Don't act like you don't know, and don't act like you're worried about it. Back in January, Amnesty International reported that the coalition used American precision-guided munitions in an airstrike on a detention center in Yemen, killing dozens of people. Saudi officials have been trying to get the ban lifted for months now, putting pressure at any opportunity on their American counterparts to reverse the decision, the sources revealed. But it wasn't until Saturday that Biden, who had previously called Saudi Arabia a pariah state, made clear his intention to reset the U.S. strained relations with its Gulf partner, in part to secure an increase in oil production that could help bring gas prices down. Feed evil into the evil for more evil. I know that there are many who disagree with my decision to travel to Saudi Arabia, Biden wrote in a commentary published by the Washington Post. However, the visit will help to start a new and more promising chapter of America's engagement in the Middle East, and a more secure and integrated Middle East is essential to Americans, since its energy resources are vital for mitigating the impact of Russia's offensive in Ukraine, the president argued. So it's kind of like you've got two companies, let's just call them companies, even though they're nations, right, that are going to be running to Saudi Arabia and going to be giving Saudi Arabia this, that, and everything else to side with them. And Saudi Arabia is going to do much like Turkey has done for years, and they're going to play both sides of it, and they're going to get all kinds of stuff from the U.S. and all kinds of stuff from Russia, and all. It's just going to be stupid. You know, business as usual. Let's see. Biden's commentary followed his administration's attempts to get U.S. Middle Eastern partners to help alleviate what Washington's calling Putin's price hike. Back in March, leaders of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates reportedly snubbed Biden's phone calls as he was expected to urge them to ramp up oil production. Any attempts to reverse the ban on offensive arms sales to the Saudis are certain to encounter opposition from both Republicans and Democrats in Congress, Reuters reports, citing congressional aides. Biden adopted a tougher Saudi policy soon after his inauguration, aiming to punish Riyadh for a number of human rights violations, including heavy civilian casualties in its war against Houthi rebels in Yemen, as well as the assassination of journalist and dissident Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. However, he softened his stance this year, imagine that, after sanctions imposed on Moscow over its operation in neighboring Ukraine backfired heavily, contributing to soaring inflation and energy prices in the U.S. So, that's the reasoning to go back on the weapons ban and just, hey, here you go, have a bunch of missiles, and, you know, we know you said you won't use them to bomb innocent people. We know. It's ridiculous, is it not? Anyway, that's the tabs I have open. That's all the tabs I have on you. I got a fair amount of headlines today, not a ton. The end didn't come yet, so I would have let you know that at the beginning of the show. If the world ended, I wouldn't have made you wait this long. Anyway. Oh, man. I gotta have more of that. Coffee. The only drink. Okay, well, I have tea in between coffee, so. Alright, let's do this. Let's see. Japan's ruling coalition secures power to fulfill Abe's dream. Not talking about Lincoln. Russia suspends operation of major gas pipeline to Europe. EU laments losing battle of narratives on Ukraine. Wuhan University reports cholera case. Opposition slams Macron's alleged secret deal with Uber. A return date for sanctioned Russian pipeline part revealed, says media. World's largest casino city locked down. Okay, the world's largest casino city. And I'm thinking, what? You know? And I didn't necessarily think that the largest casino would be Las Vegas, because, believe it or not, the U.S. isn't necessarily the biggest in everything. But I was honestly thinking it was more likely Dubai, is what I was thinking. And I said something, I think it was yesterday on the show. I could be mistaken. It was very recently, and I said something about how China isn't quite as, you know, it isn't what we're propagandized to think it is. That there are more people that are allowed to do more there than what we think, because there's a lot of propaganda here. Well, you know, duh, the world's largest casino is in China. So if they were that strict about your entire life over there, I'm damn sure they wouldn't have gambling. So, nor the largest casino city. I mean, anyway, I digress. Liz Truss joins race to replace Boris Johnson, vows to help defeat Russia. Document leaks reveal Uber's secret activities, says media. Russian exclave responds to Baltic blockade. Firm claims U.S. spooks blessed purchase of Pegasus spyware maker, says New York Times. EU divided over Ukraine support, says Kiev. European gas prices drop on renewed Russian supply hopes. U.S. doctor proposes floating abortion clinic. Stocks of Western-supplied missiles destroyed in Ukraine, says Moscow. A Russian gas supply to Italy cut by a third, says INI. Twitter shares sink after Musk rescinds buyout offer. Beijing warns of Southeast Asia nations becoming chess pieces. Russia offers fast-track citizenship to all Ukrainians. Omicron mutant strain first detected in India sets off alarms. Global population to hit 8 billion this year, says the UN. A report exposes dehumanization of police in Europe. Poland is not seeking revenge against Ukraine, says President. Brazil seeking Russian fuel supply, says Bolsonaro. Zelensky official who threatened to strike Crimean bridge resigns. Ukraine appoints 25-year-old to high-ranking European integration post. Ukrainian oligarch hands over media empire to state. Ukraine responds to Russia's citizenship initiative. Yemen crisis looms over Biden's Saudi visit. U.S. comments on challenges to world order. Oh, I read that one actually. Ukraine's attack on city in Kherson region reminiscent of Hiroshima, says an official. That's crazy. Anyway, that is the headlines. I got done in just under an hour tonight, so I'm going to take advantage of that and boogie. Get the hell out of here, and I don't know. I'll be snoring in probably another half an hour. Well, maybe not. I'm one of those people that toss and turn forever, so I'll be in bed in another half an hour, but I probably won't be asleep until about another 2 hours. By the time I'm done tossing and turning. So anyway, I am out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow and hopefully see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.